Hello and welcome to another World of Warplanes video with me, Sir 10 Death. If you've been following my channel, you will realise I've just got to the end of reviewing all of the Tier 4 fighters and I'm moving on to a Tier 5 one today. It's one of the three Russian ones, the Yakovlev Yak-1, and we'll be looking at this in closer detail today. There is an awful lot of options at Tier 5. There are actually, because I've just counted them, when you include premium and special aeroplanes as well as tech tree ones, there are 22 Tier 5 fighters in the game at present, and this is but one of them. I have in the past actually already reviewed a handful. Some premium ones. I've done things like the A6M3 Experimental, the Heinkel HE100D1, the Spitfire 1A, the Bell XFL1, the I-180-3 and the Arsenal Delane 10C2, as well as the Tech Tree Spitfire 1. So I've done a few Tier 5s, and this is only the second Tech Tree available plane that I'm doing, the Yak-1. As ever, we'll be talking about its strengths, its weaknesses, what it does well, what it doesn't do so well, and making a few comparisons to the other planes that are around. Many of them, 22 in total, so there's lots to try out and lots of me as a YouTuber to be reviewing and looking at in the forthcoming weeks and months. So what's it all about then, this plane? Well, hit point wise, firstly when you get it, it's got 180 hit points, which is not bad, it's okay, it's reasonable, you can work with that. When you upgrade the airframe, that can become 200, which is a little bit better, it helps a little bit, it's not too bad at all. Manoeuvrability, that's what this line of the Russians, I did mention earlier there are three different Russian lines. There is the Yak line, the Yakovlevs, there is the MiG line, and there is the Lag line. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce those other Russian words in any detail. So this is one of the three, and the Yak line, this one is renowned for being the more manoeuvrable ones. It plays in theory a bit more like the Japanese style of fighters. They're more about getting in and out of combat quickly and using their manoeuvrability rather than having big, slow, lumbering airframes. So yeah, it's got a manoeuvrability rating of 88, which upgrades to 90 when you upgrade the airframe, which is really quite nice. That gives it a turning time of 8.5 seconds as a stock plane, which is great, and that comes down to 8.3 seconds when it's been upgraded as well. So there's not very many things in the game that can outturn this. One or two things, maybe some of those Japanese ones, a handful, but most things you can outturn. You can get onto the tail of them quite easily, and if you get something that's on your tail, you can shrug it off, or at least have a better chance of doing so. Its suggested altitude for fighting is around about 800 meters, which is, I'm just slightly above that at the moment, not massively so, but that's where it performs best apparently, and that's where I found in my limited amount of time of playing this. There's only a handful of games. Speed is it's one sort of major drawback, and that's typical of quite a few fighters at this tier. It's not particularly fast. When going along without a boost, it will go along around the 270, 280 kilometers per hour sort of area. Even when you get the engine fully upgraded, it might do around 300 to 310. The boost will of course push it up to around 400 or more, but as always, that's 6 seconds only. In terms of gameplay, it's doing alright. I'm finding this aircraft plays in my style of play quite well. If I had to compare it to something, it plays pretty much quite like those Japanese planes, quite like the A6M3, quite like the Spitfire, quite like maybe the Arsenal Delane AD10C2. It's playing in that style of play, and that's why I've already got myself 1700 combat points already, and doing alright there. Guns, let's talk about the guns then. Well, when you get the plane, sorry, it's not terrible. There are some that are really sadly lacking, and this one's not too bad. It has two 7.62s, which is not great, but it has a 20mm cannon from stock, and that's mounted in the hub as well, so it's nice and centrally mounted and can get it on target. That's not bad at all. I'm actually playing this plane now in its stock configuration, and you will see it performs quite well. So you will see then that of course that 20mm cannon will overheat quite rapidly, so you've got to feather the bursts a bit more than you would if you were just playing with machine guns, but it's pretty effective, and it's lovely for this, getting on the tail of somebody who's trying to get away and just picking them off. Even when he tries to outturn you, he's not going to do that easily. You can upgrade the guns, and should upgrade the guns to two 12.7s and that 20. The 20 stays the same, that stays in the nose cone of the plane throughout, but you can upgrade those two 7.62s into two 12.7s, which gives you additional firepower as well, which is really quite nice, which I'll be doing in the near future. So, As I've just alluded to, it is my style of playing. Oh, just taking a bit of damage there, wings damage, and I've got very little hit points left. Let's just try and see if we can do a bit more work, stay in this game as long as we possibly can. It's fantastic for getting on the tail of people, and just a bit concerned because I don't want to get in somebody else's gun sights here. Let's try and finish off this attack aircraft. I'm actually pushing the 20mm cannon to its overheat point there just to get that last shot or two on target. But yeah, it's quite a nice plane, I have to say. It plays very similarly to the Spitfire style, although the gun layout is a little bit different. Very similarly to the Arsenal Delane plane. So if you like that style of turn and burn fighter, it's pretty good. It does play at a lower altitude than what Spitfires are best at. Spitfires apparently perform best a little bit over the 1,000 metres, about 1,200 metres. This performs better a little bit below it, which means that in situations like this, when the gameplay suddenly is taking place above you and you're trying to get up to where it's all happening, it can be a bit hard work. It can be 10 times worse, of course, if you get your engine knocked out, which probably means it's going to be the end of my first sortie here. I'll try and hang in as long as I possibly can. But yeah, if you have been fighting down there around the 500, 600, 700 metre area, and then you clear everything out that's happening down there, and you realise that the other planes are all sitting there a few hundred metres above you, to catch up with the gameplay can be a bit traumatic, especially given that low engine speed and the fact that the altitude ceiling of this plane is not the highest. So that's probably one limiting factor slightly. I have got an enemy on my tail here now, and I'm just going to try and see if I can use this manoeuvrability to out-turn him. Wow. Now I am going to probably get out of this game quite soon because there's a lot of enemies around me. So when I'm trying to get rid of one person off my back, this guy here, finish him off. Yeah, I've got killed at the same time by an A6M2, which is one of the few planes that probably can manoeuvre as well as this one. But yeah, can't complain. First sortie did about about 4,000 combat points. That's pretty good. Can live with that. As a team, how we're doing? Well, we're a little bit behind at the minute, but it's a fairly even game. Although they have got more bases taken than us, so they are probably getting a grip on this. I have said in recent videos I don't win every single game I ever play. In fact, my win ratio is sitting just below the 50% at the minute, 49.2 or something like that. And I don't pay a lot of attention to win ratios at this present point in time, and that's because, as you'll know if you've been playing this game a while, 80 to 90% of the games are still made up of bots, so you can only do what you can do. You can go out and have a fantastic game. I was actually watching a video this morning on YouTube by another YouTuber who was playing in the Tier 8 German TA-152, plane I'd love to get in the future. And if you haven't seen him, by the way, his username is Slay, S-L-A-Y, and he's well worth checking out his videos. He plays at higher tiers than me at the minute, because he's been playing longer, but he does some good videos. I was watching his video this morning, and he had a fantastic game, something like 15,000 combat points, and the team lost anyway, because that's what happens sometimes. If the bots don't behave, then you're out of there. So win ratios are not something to pay too much attention to at this present point in time until the player base increases and there's basically human players on all the teams all of the time, but that's going to take a while for the popularity of the game to spread. The early versions of World of Warplanes that came out 4 years ago were extremely damaging for wargaming, in my opinion. I played them as a beta tester and not very long because I simply didn't like it. I love this version 2. There are some people out there that hate version 2, but I really like version 2, and I can see why hopefully the word is going to spread and people start coming back to this game and playing it some more. It is looking like this is going to be a defeat anyway now, because although I'm trying my best here, I'm having to just try and get to where the actions actually happen. The scoreline has just dropped now, so it's one of those points in time now where all you can do on a team where you're well behind, 100 points behind in superiority, and the scoreline is down, is to attempt the ill-fated trying to shoot down every single person on the opposing team if you possibly can. It's the only way you're really going to win this now, unless you can flip a cap or two over in the latter stages. So start with this attack plane, because he's obviously going to try and push the win home by taking this area. He's got quite a lot of company coming his way, so this is going to be a bit of a tough fight to stay in this game for very long. But what I'm looking for here, I'm scanning left right, looking at these guys who've got low number of hit points. Because if they've got a low number of hit points, if I can knock them out of the game, they are not going to respawn. And that's one less plane for me to worry about. So here's one, just try and get rid of this guy now. Can quite make hard work of it, but I've almost got him. Gun's overheating a little bit. Just finish him off. That's one more out of the game. Past the 6,000 combat point mark. There's another body who's on below 50% of his hit points. So if I can get him in my sights. He's quite a long way off. So I have to work hard to get him in the sights. I'll try and get closer if I can. Come on. Yeah, they've almost won anyway now, so it's really about maximising my personal damage and getting as many credits and experience from this as I possibly can. Wow, I'm having to work really hard. There we go, we've got him at last. Oh, somebody else. Oh, he's actually just been shot down by somebody else. Yeah. Actually, they've only got a few planes left. Unfortunately, it looks like they're so close to winning the game that it looks like they're probably going to win anyway, because they're 90% or so of that bar. When that bar gets to about 800, that's when you're out of there. And I'm just trying to see if we can possibly kill off everybody, we can win the game. There's still a few of them left. Let's try and help out this, getting rid of this attack aircraft, because attack aircraft tend to have quite a lot of hit points. Even if you've got good guns, they take a bit of work to get rid of them. Let's see if we can just pop down his hit point bar significantly. Let's chop him up, sweep around and make another pass on him. Oh, it's going to be a pretty close game, this, you know. I quite like these games where you can get a little bit excited about, could you actually turn a defeat into a win? It could happen. Try the very best you can. You know, we're actually catching them up here. We could end up pipping this up. Nearly 8,000 combat points as well now. I have to say I'm thoroughly enjoying the way this plays. As I said much earlier in the video, it plays kind of like a Spitfire or those Japanese planes. If you like turn and burn, getting in amongst the action, mixing it up, this might well be one you want to add to your collection. At the minute, I'm not managing to keep all the planes in my hangar because I'm, of course, selling them to get the next one up the tech tree. As once I've reviewed them and done a video on them, there are quite a few I'll come back to at a later point and I will want to own. And maybe if Wargaming do one of those cheaper hangar slot weekends, I'll buy myself some hangar slots as well. I've got a few spare. How do we do? Oh, we actually turned it around and won. We just managed. Wow, 801 to 795. That's a really close game. We turned it around and won. Yeah, how do we go? Hunt for Stormbird, shooting down attack aircraft. Finished first in the team overall and 4th class. I love this plane. This plane is really nice. How did we do on the whole? Cash-wise, it's a tech tree plane, so it's not going to pull in vast amounts. Yeah, just shy of 60,000 credits is pretty good. Can live with that. That's all right. And finish top on the team overall. Top of both teams. Yeah, the Yak-1, good plane. I like it. I'd recommend it. If you like turn and burn fighters, if you like Spitfire style of play, or those Japanese Zero planes or the KI line, you'll probably like the Yak line as well. I'd recommend giving it a go. And the ones leading up to it, the I-16E and the I-17, good planes as well. As ever, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks very much. Please do share and subscribe. Cheers now. Goodbye.